Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Mr. Bad Paramahansa, Purujaka Ashtotar, the Srimad Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. ISKCON BBT founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa, Purujaka Ashtotar, the Srimad Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavanda ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glory to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Okay, there is a book with a don't put it on the ground. That's okay. With a marker in it. But I happen to know which verse it is, so tonight it won't be so bad. But if any of your books have that bookmark, and give it to me at the end of the class. Okay, just give me a second here. You do? How would you know? You weren't here. You're absolutely correct. It is 7. Isn't it? You think it's 8?
Yeah, we were on text 6 yesterday. Krishna said all creative beings have their source from the
Yeah, no, it's definitely 7. It's 7, because 7 is a very famous verse. I remembered. Okay, top of page 312 in your books. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On this 29th day of October 2019 in SanDiego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We are in chapter 7, entitled Knowledge of the Absolute, text number 7, at the top of page 312. Mattak paratanang nanyat kinchadasti dhananjaya Maisav midam protam Sutre managanahiva mattak paratarang nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya maisarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva mattak paratarang nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya maisarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva mattak paratarang nanyat kinchadasti dhananjaya maisarvamidam protam sutre maniganahiva. Go ahead. Mattak paratanang nanyat kinchadasti dhananjaya maisarvamidam protam sutre maniganahiva. Glenn, you want to try? Mattak paratanang nanyat kinchadasti dhananjaya maisarvamidam protam sutre maniganahiva. Ace. Mattak paratanang nanyat kinchadasti dhananjaya maisarvamidam protam sutre maniganahiva. Want to try it? Mattak paratanang nanyat kinchadasti dhananjaya mahisarvamidam protam sutre maniganahiva. Okay. I'll read these synonyms myself, you read along. Mataha, beyond me, parataram, superior, not anyat kinchit, anything else. Asti, there is, dhananjaya, O conqueror of wealth. Mahi, in me, sarvam, all that be, idam, which we see, protam is strung, sutre, on a thread, maniganaha, pearls, eva, like. Translation. Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Purport. There is a common controversy over whether the Supreme Absolute Truth is personal or impersonal. As far as the Bhagavad Gita is concerned, the Absolute Truth is the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, and this is confirmed in every step. In this verse in particular, it is stressed that the Absolute Truth is a person. That the personality of Godhead is the Supreme Absolute Truth is also the affirmation of the Brahma Samhita, Ishwarak Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. That is, the Supreme Absolute Truth, personality of Godhead, is Lord Krishna, who is the primeval Lord, the reservoir of all pleasure, Govinda, and the eternal form of complete bliss and knowledge. Shri Shri Radha Hari Ki Jai, Shri Shri Gauranatai Ki Jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ji Ki Jai. These authorities leave no doubt that the Absolute Truth is the Supreme Person, the cause of all causes. The impersonalist, however, argues on the strength of the Vedic version given in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad 3.10, Tato yad uttarataram tadarupam anamayam ya etad vidur amitas te bhuvanti atetare dukkam evapiyanti. Which means, in the material world, Brahma, the primeval living entity within the universe, is understood to be the supreme amongst the demigods, human beings, and lower animals. But beyond Brahma, there is the Transcendence, who has no material form and is free from all material contaminations. Anyone who can know him also becomes transcendental, but those who do not know him suffer the miseries of the material world. The impersonalist puts more stress on the word arupam. Arupa means without form. But this arupam is not impersonal. It indicates the transcendental form of eternity, bliss, and knowledge, as described in the Brahma Samhita quoted above. Yes, Ishvara Parama Krishna. Other verses in the Shvetashvata Upanishad 3:8-9 substantiate this as follows. Vedahametam purusham mahantam adityavanam tamasak parastat tameva viditvati mityumeti nanyak panta vidyadeyanaya yasmat param na param asti kinchid yasman naniyo na jayo sti kinchid vriksha iva stabdo divitishtat yekas tenedam purnam purushena sarvam. I know that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to all material conceptions of darkness. Only he who knows him can transcend the bonds of birth and death. There is no way for liberation other than this knowledge of that Supreme Person. There is no truth superior to that Supreme Person, because he is the supermost. He is smaller than the smallest, and he is greater than the greatest. He is situated as a silent tree, and he illumines the transcendental sky. And as a tree spreads its roots, he spreads his extensive energies. From these verses, one concludes that the Supreme Absolute Truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all-pervading by his multi-energies, both material and spiritual. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmidatam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto him and all members of Sri Parampara, the disciplic succession. Welcome, Isabella. Hare Krishna. You got the page, 313? Okay. So, this is a verse Srila Prabhupada would often quote. First of all, let's look at the context. In 5 and 6, actually 4, 5, and 6, Krishna has described the material energies. He beginning with what we know, which is earth. If you know anything, it's solid matter. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. These are we experience them every day. We just don't categorize them in that way. Solid matter and air and liquids, radiant energy, space. These are called the gross material elements, but they're progressively subtler in this list. If you notice, ether is space, is very subtle. Then mind, intelligence, and ego. All of us know we have those, but we can't see them, touch them, smell them, but they're very essential to us. That's where we really live, in the mind, in the intelligence. Even when we sense something with the senses, it's reflecting on the mind. So these elements, Krishna says, these are my energies. Binna prakriti. Prakriti means energy. So Krishna is saying here, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, these are all my energies. But besides these lower energies, unconscious energies, there is superior energy. Apare mitastranyam prakriti vidyame param. Apara means not transcendental, lower, gross. But there is para prakriti, or para shakti. We have our para shakti Dasi, who was here last night. Not today. Means transcendental energy, or conscious energy, spiritual energy. That's us. We're the spiritual energy within matter. Just like in our body, because this is the A of the ABCs of Bhagavad Gita, is that we are spirit, we're soul, Atma, within a covering of material body, both gross and subtle, that I just mentioned. This hand, this whole body is made of nothing but earth, water, fire, air, ether, right? Solid matter, liquids, right? Bones and everything. It's a very complicated machine, but it's a dead machine. It's animated because we're inside, because we, the soul, are inside. So everything you see is a combination of matter and spirit. That's what Krishna says in the next verse, which is text 5. Etad yonini bhutani. Yes. Text 6, I'm sorry. All created beings have their source in these two natures or energies. Of all that is material, all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. Now this is the definition. This is the definition of the Supreme, or the Brahman, as is spoken of in the Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta Sutra is a simple combination of words. Veda means knowledge, Anta means end or supreme, and Sutra means aphorisms. This is a book written by Vyasadeva, which encompasses all the essential Vedic philosophy in these short aphorisms. So the first one is a call to all of us, human beings. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now you've come to this human form of life, you should inquire into Brahman. And what is that Brahman? That's mentioned in the next verse, the next sutra, sorry. It says, Janmad Yasya Yataha. Janma means birth. Adi means what comes after birth, which is sustenance or life. And then after that comes annihilation. Everything material has its point at which it comes into being. And it stays for some time, and then it eventually goes out of being. Hare Krishna, welcome. So that includes our bodies, it includes this building, it includes California, it includes the earth and this whole universe. It came into being at a certain time because it's material. And it will stay for some time, and at a certain point in history, it will disappear. We are on page 312. We'll give you a book. We have so many books. Yeah. So, there's nothing in this existence but these two energies. We try to understand that. And it exists for ourselves as well. Now, we as spirit, we've inhabited so many different conglomerations of matter called bodies. Not all of them human. You know? Every time you see anything that evinces consciousness, they're like these plants out here. You know? I mean, I have never seen it, but I've heard that they move the leaves a little bit and try to get the sun. Right? Everyone knows about the sunflower, right? It's actually obvious it's going to... But they grow. And there was a test, I remember reading this book many years ago, The Secret Life of Plants. Is that still a current book? You remember? You remember? How they did tests and say, if you go and you yell at your plant, and you curse your plant, it'll shrivel up. You know? There's actually an effect. Whereas if you love it, you water it, you praise it, you play music. You know? I had a plant, it lived for 20 years. I hardly I water it every now and then, but I was always playing Prabhupada bhajans and beautiful music, you know, and it flourished. Eventually it passed away. But plants are alive, but they're kind of very, very rudimentary. You know, they hardly know they're alive, but there's life in there. There's a soul in there. What to speak of insects? You can see they're conscious. You know, the ants crawling here, you just put your finger, oh, panic, you know, there's a hurricane, there's a disaster coming. Right? They know. They obviously, birds, animals, everyone, people. I think people have as much affection for pets in this country as they do for children. There's many people with no children, but they have their pets, right? So there's obviously consciousness, but the consciousness is more rudimentary. When you come to the human form of life, we have this very great treasure. We should not waste it. This is enjoined in many places in the Shastra. I gave a talk. Where was it? Somehow I had many Indian guests. One of the places I've been, I forget, been so many places. And I invoked this, which you probably learned as a child, right? Tamasi ma jyotirgama asatoma sadgamaya vityumam amitam gamaya. This is a call to us. Don't stay in the darkness. Probably there's two ways of understanding the word ma. It can mean don't, or it can mean me. It can be a call to the Lord, take me, oh Lord, take me from darkness to light, from death to immortality, from the unreal to the real. You see? I remember hearing this when I first visited a yoga studio. You know, it was yoga had just been. I knew it was an Indian science, but it was just basically a way to get your health together. You know, but there was this other element to it. You know, that there's darkness and light, the temporary and the eternal. And I had already been studying some Western philosophy. You know, what is the ground of being? You know, and all of these things. They're always searching, but in very vague terms. But that's what Brahman is. Brahman is the spirit. It's the eternal reality. And we don't know what it is, but we yearn for it because that's who we are. We ourselves are eternal. We don't die and we're not born. Isn't that good news? I mean, I made a little bit, a little ditty. Some of you have heard it before. It's based on a verse. Everybody dies, nobody dies. You know, you understand? Everybody dies, nobody dies. Wake up and open your eyes. You're not that body, you're a pure spirit soul. Chant the holy name and attain life's goal. That's all you need to remember. So that's really what this injunction is. Vyasadeva is asking us through Vedanta Sutra, don't waste this human life, inquire into Brahman, and that Brahman is the source of everything. That which is the source of all the generation, which sustains everything and into which everything merges when there's a huge annihilation. You see? And how are we going to inquire into it? That's the third sutra. Shastra Yonitvat. Shastra Yoni means the Shastra, the revealed scripture like Bhagavad Gita, given to us as it is by a realized soul, Srila Prabhupada, is the source of our knowledge about these things. Because our senses we can't see Brahman, we can't see spirit, you see? We can barely see matter very well. There's so many limitations on our, So we need knowledge that comes from that transcendental source, revelatory knowledge. And that's from the Shastra. And here, we're reading it. So Krishna says here, Mattak Partadang Nanyat, there is nothing beyond me. Now, Krishna is a person, is Bhagavan, he's a personality. In other words, the ultimate source of everything is not just a force, it's not a powerhouse, it's not a white light, it's a person. And logically, we can come to that conclusion on our own also. Anything that's created, we're surrounded by created things. Look at these nice book stands that Janardhan brought back at great effort from India on one of his trips. Now, these book stands obviously didn't create themselves. There's wood there. They're made of wood. But what's the cause of these book stands? Exactly, somebody's idea. Some simple Indian fellow probably wanted to make some money, so he got a lot of wood and he carved them. It's nice they're carved, and they're very useful. We can use it. So there's an idea behind it. The wood had to be there, the effort had to go into it. You see, there are various causes, but that book stand can't have anything that beyond what its causes were. What I mean is that. The idea, the design, everything that went into it first started out as in somebody's brain. There's a person behind it. That's the idea. Now apply it to this world. Why is it, if there's book stand, how do we know that the person behind it? Because there's so much design there. There's intelligence, there's information, as my old friend Sadhapura would say. There's information content. It's not just some random thing. So what about let's go outside here, 20 feet, and you're out in the patio. There's all of these plants, all these natural things. We used to have this cat that came. They gave it a name. I don't know if anyone was here who remember the cat. They called him Narada Muni. I said, you can't name a cat Narada Muni. We named him something else. But this cat would come every morning at breakfast time to get the kheer, the condensed milk. He loved milk. We'd take some milk, put it on a little leaf, and the cat would lick it up like anything. It's very tasty. He became addicted to that milk. Back for years, he would come back. Became kind of fat from all that. So the point is that cat had a certain amount of intelligence. Very fortunate cat to take prasadam like that. The contact with Krishna. But wherever you look, you'll find design. You'll find, the sun coming up at almost exactly the same time every day. The things are, the seasons are changing. The incredible way in which the whole solar system is put together. There's organization everywhere. So that means there has to be an intelligence behind it. To think there isn't is absolute foolishness. So wherever there is intelligence, there's a person. That's an essential part. You can't have intelligence without a person. So this is what Krishna is saying here. We can speculate on all of this, or we can simply take Krishna's statement. There's nothing beyond me. Mai sarvamidam protam. Now this is a very wonderful analogy, because if you have a pearl necklace, you see if it's nicely constructed, you don't see the thread, do you? You see just the pearls. If you see some thread there, that's a cheap necklace, right? It should be very smooth. So similarly, Krishna is underlying everything here, but we don't see Krishna. But he's holding it all together. It's described that through his expansion, because this is one of the things that is brought out in the previous purport, when the first one about the energies, is that we don't see the energetic, we don't see the source behind it. But we can tell from the energies, if we're intelligent and we're guided, that there's an intelligence behind everything. So we can see the result, and if we simply accept this, that there's the expansion of the super soul in everything. Krishna expands as what we call super soul in every atom, and that's why things are sustained. He sustained everything. Without withdrawal, then everything dissolves into its constituent parts. So this verse is used often by Srila Prabhupada to show that the ultimate, as in the purport here. Now you may wonder about all of these quotes, all this Sanskrit. What Prabhupada is doing, he's quoting from commentaries by Baladev Vidyabhushan. The word vidya means knowledge, and bhushan means an ornament. Someone who is given the epithet, the title of Vidyabhushan, means he's very intelligent, very learned. He has the ornament of great knowledge. This means spiritual knowledge. So he was one of our acharyas, or great teachers, a few hundred years ago. And he wrote a commentary on Bhagavad Gita. And he also wrote the commentary on this Vedanta Sutra for our line, Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Very, very learned. So if you go to the beginning of the book, Prabhupada dedicates this book to Baladev Vidyabhushan. Prabhupada is not making up these comments. And so he's quoting faithfully what the verses that Baladev quoted here, and basically trying to prove, because there's an ongoing battle with transcendentalists, is the absolute personal or impersonal? There's a whole group of transcendentalists called Mayavadis who say the absolute truth, the ultimate Brahman, is impersonal, and Krishna is derived from that. That he is a lower manifestation. The ultimate manifestation is white light. I almost got entangled in that. Back in 1971, I was searching here and there, and I went to different yoga studios, and I visited the Ramakrishna mission. Has anyone heard of Ramakrishna before? Ramakrishna mission? It's funny, I was just in India. I went to Tirupati recently. They have an ancient temple on a big hill. I mean, it's more like a mountain. And in that temple, which was visited by Lord Chaitanya 500 years ago, and by Ramanujacharya 800, 900 years ago, and the temple is said to go back millions of years, and they have this deity called Balaji. That's the most visited temple in all of India. 100,000 visitors a day. And it's because it's said that if you give, dakshin, you give some contribution, then you get back 100 times. So people go there by the thousands. So we were able to go and visit that deity. We had to stand in line for an hour, gradually move in the queue, and then you go by, and you have like a 3-second darshan, like that. But the temple is extremely wealthy. You see real gold plating on all kinds of things, it's amazing. So, the culture in India, there's a long tradition of many transcendentalists ultimately following Shankaracharya, who are of the opinion that the absolute, the ultimate reality is impersonal. And they have their own books, and they have their interpretations of Bhagavad Gita and everything else. So the personalists, we belong to the personalist school. Now the Mayavadis, just imagine, those of us who are familiar with Krishna consciousness, how we chant the holy name, the deity is so beautiful, the prasadam, the paintings. Krishna consciousness, bhakti yoga, is filled with sensual activities of connecting your senses to the absolute through the deity, the art, what to speak of the sounds, all of the descriptions. For the Mayavadis, it's all Maya. The deity is just a statue of stone. That harekrishna, the mantra is just it's ordinary sound. Everything that, is what, it may help you. I experienced this. I'll tell you my little experience. Because I was getting attracted to Krishna. I was chanting Hare Krishna mantra. And I was visiting this Ramakrishna mission. So they have this phrase, if you listen to Prabhupada's lectures, you read the books, you come across this phrase, yatamat tatapat. Whatever is your desire, whatever is your preference, that's your path. You follow that. You want impersonal, we got that. You want bhakti, we got that also. So I was chanting Hare Krishna, I was saying, well, I like the bhakti. I really like Krishna. Part of it was, I'll be honest with you, because he was a flute player. I had been playing the flute for many years, and there's Krishna with the flute. So, well, that's interesting. This group says God is a flute player. Let me go check that. That was just my good fortune. So anyway, I was in the basic Mayavadi environment, but they let me have the bhakti corner. So I would chant Hare Krishna, but there's no pictures and no paintings, I said, do you have any kind of a murti of Krishna? I'd like to chant. He said, sure. Up on the 3rd floor, there's a room up there. You can go up there and chant. So I went up there, and there was this little, no Radha, just Krishna standing, maybe, a foot high, white, I don't know if it was ivory or plaster or whatever. So I chanted there for a while, And after chanting Hare Krishna, then I went up closer to the murti, and I saw there was like dust about this thick There was no devotion. There was just like, all right, you're one of these sentimental bhaktas, you can go and have your murti, But the real thing, he said this, the guru there. And I was getting attracted. He spoke very eloquently on the Bhagavad Gita. But it was, an impersonal interpretation. I didn't know anything. That's their opinion. For the emotional masses, you can worship whatever you want. Worship Kali, worship Durga, worship Krishna. It helps you. If it helps you, that's fine. But you should know that the ultimate is Gyan, is like the impersonal. That was the philosophy. So that was what I almost got into. I actually bought this. This may not mean much to you. There's a Sharirika Bhashya. Does anyone know what the Sharirika Bhashya? You've heard it. This is Shankaracharya's commentary on Vedanta Sutra. Baladev Vijayabhushan wrote the personalist commentary, bringing it all back to Krishna consciousness, which it really is. Prabhupada's name is A.C. Bhakti Vedanta, meaning that the end of knowledge is bhakti, love for God, not merging in Brahman. So I bought that, and Lord Chaitanya says anyone who hears the Mayavad philosophy is doomed. I came this close to reading that book, but I never actually read it. I was fortunate. Anyway, I was saved. I won't go into my own story, but somehow, I was attracted to the devotees, and I gave up this impersonal. But that battle is going on even today in India. There's many, many impersonalists, and the Bhakti school teaches, no, the ultimate reality is this all-attractive person, all-powerful, but also all-attractive and all-loving. Bhakti means love. It means loving devotion. That's what we're trying to do. Because now it's been our attraction has been directed toward matter. And that's keeping us bound to this world of suffering. Because as long as we're attracted to this world to try to enjoy it and think it's our home, we'll keep getting bodies in this world. And that body, getting physical bodies means old age, disease, and death, and rebirth, and that's not pleasant. That's misery. So we should be eager to learn the philosophy of Krishna consciousness and how Krishna has created everything, which is what this section is about. And the method, simple, workable method that we can employ. I notice you have your bead bag. You're chanting rounds too? Hare Krishna. Very good. Chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Krishna has come in the form of his name. He's brought the name as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and taught it through the simple process. Yuga Dharma means the religion of this age. And he showed it himself. He practiced himself. And he's manifests through that name. This is inconceivable. But when we chant Hare Krishna, we're actually associating with Krishna. Now, of course, there's different levels of that chanting, but depending on our focus and our devotion, we'll experience the presence of God in his name. And it opens up our attraction for Krishna in all different kinds of ways. We're coming up on 2 important holidays. Now, Thursday night, it's kind of an intimate, you're all invited. This is a celebration of Srila Prabhupada's disappearance. We don't say that the spiritual master dies, because nobody dies. We leave the body, we depart, especially great exalted souls, they disappear from our sight. But this is the anniversary of the lunar calendar. He actually passed away on November 14th, 1977. But it corresponds to October 31st in 2019 on the lunar calendar. We follow the lunar calendar. And so there'll be devotees here and giving remembrances of Prabhupada. It's a very moving festival. But 2 days later we have our main yearly festival, which is Govardhan Puja. The actual day was Monday, but this year we wanted to facilitate as much attendance as possible. So it'll be Saturday night, and the temple will be all filled with devotees. There'll be a nice hill built here. The whole, I don't know, some of you may have not know the pastime. Maybe I can tell a little bit. Again, Krishna, one of the things that's so attractive about Krishna of all his wonderful pastimes, his activities, and they're always in conjunction with his devotees. He's reciprocating their love. He's saving them from danger. It's very exciting. So this is one of the most amazing pastimes. And this temple is dedicated to commemorating that pastime. And that pastime is lifting a hill to protect the devotees from a huge storm that was sent by Indra. Indra corresponds to Zeus. He's in charge of the rain and the weather, you know. So if you notice on each corner of this temple, there's a beautiful sculpture, and there's Krishna lifting up this hill. And it doesn't show his cows and his friends underneath it, but they were protected for a whole week. So, and the name of the deity here, Radha Giridhari. Giri means mountain, and Dhari means lift. Giridhari, lifter of the mountain. That's you'll see at 8:15 if you're able to stay for the arti. So, this is naturally, since this is New Govardhan, this is the this yatra or this dham. Dham is a holy place that you go to for spiritual upliftment. Is dedicated to remembrance of that. That's we call it New Govardhan. And so we'll hear that pastime. Maharaj is supposed to be here. He's recovering from a trip to India. He was there at Tirupati also, and he had a little problem. He has diabetes, but I saw him today. He's recovering. Hopefully he'll be okay by Thursday, if not by Saturday. Yes, the Badri Narayan Swami. He's planning to be, hopes to be, yeah, but definitely by Saturday night. So anyway, this verse is often quoted that Krishna is stating, as he, confirming what he just said in the two previous verses. Whatever you see is composed of my energies, spiritual and material. Our very bodies are a combination of spirit and matter, and these are Krishna's energies, and that means he's connected to it, and we can use these energies. This is the whole art and science of bhakti. Use the material energy, which is now kind of our prison, which is keeping us bound because we're so attached to it and we identify with it. Use those very same senses, like the ears that we're using, or our eyes to read or see the deities, the hands, everything, to connect to Krishna. And how that's done, that's the art and science of bhakti that's taught in Bhagavad Gita and other books like Nectar of Devotion, and we have so many other books. It's all passed down, it's confirmed, it works. Just like anyone who chants Hare Krishna seriously knows it works. I'm feeling much more upbeat these days because I'm chanting Hare Krishna. I remember when I began chanting, it's like, wow, this is a powerful mantra. It's called the Maha Mantra, and it's completely bona fide. We're reading here from the Upanishads. There's one Upanishad where this mantra appears, called Kali Santarana. Kali is this age of Kali. It's not very auspicious age. Have you noticed that things are always so confused? I mean, we're sitting here. The fires are burning everywhere else practically in California, but right here, they're not planning any blackouts. Hopefully it won't happen. It is East County. They're talking about blackouts, the fire. It's such a dangerous place. At every step, padam padam yad padam natesham. So, that's the nature of this material world. But when you chant Hare Krishna, there's a certain space that you enter that affects your consciousness. You become more tolerant and more, all of the clouds in your consciousness kind of lift. If you begin to chant seriously. I remember my friend Indra Pramad. I visit him twice a year in Alachua. We've been in the movement, both of us, 45 years. And he was, before he joined, 71, 72, he was going through a very difficult patch in his life, as we sometimes do. And he was feeling depressed, this and that. He started going to the temple, and he lost his job, which is the best thing that happened to him. And so he was, had time. And so, but he would chant on the train. When you talk about New York, you talk about subways, so he was chanting on the train. He said, I noticed that by the time I got to the temple, after chanting on the train, my depression was gone, And it stays gone. If you're serious about chanting, you take the process. So we should do it. Okay, let's read one more. Now, Krishna is showing us, just to review, this chapter is showing us systematically how we can practice yoga even in our daily life, which is again, the essence of yoga is to begin to see God in everything. And Krishna begins where we're at. We're tasting so many things, smelling so many things. Right? We're seeing the light of the sun. Know that these are me. This is my energy. This is what the next few verses are about. All right, text 8. Rasoham apsu konteya prabhasmi shashi suryayo Pranabak sarva vedeshu Shabdake paurushang nrishu. O son of Kunti, that's Arjun. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and the ability in man. Purport. This verse explains how the Lord is all-pervasive by his diverse material and spiritual energies. The Supreme Lord can be preliminarily perceived by his different energies, and in this way he is realized impersonally. As the demigod in the sun is a person and is perceived by his all-pervading energy, the sunshine, so the Lord, although in his eternal abode, is perceived by his all-pervading diffusive energies. The taste of water is the active principle of water. No one likes to drink seawater because the pure taste of the water is mixed with salt. Attraction for water depends on the purity of the taste, and this pure taste is one of the energies of the Lord. The impersonalist perceives the presence of the Lord in water by its taste, and the personalist also glorifies the Lord for his kindly supplying tasty water to quench man's thirst. That is the way of perceiving the Supreme. Practically speaking, there's no conflict between personalism and impersonalism. One who knows God knows that the impersonal conception and personal conception are simultaneously present in everything, and that there is no contradiction. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya established his sublime doctrine, Achincha Bheda and Abheda Tattva, simultaneous oneness and difference. The light of the sun and the moon is also originally emanating from the Brahmajyoti, which is the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. And Pranava, or the Omkar, transcendental sound, in the beginning of every Vedic hymn, addresses the Supreme Lord. Because the impersonalists are very much afraid of addressing the Supreme Lord Krishna by his innumerable names, they prefer to vibrate the transcendental sound Omkar. But they do not realize that Omkar is the sound representation of Krishna. The jurisdiction of Krishna consciousness extends everywhere, and one who knows Krishna consciousness is blessed. Those who do not know Krishna are in illusion, and so knowledge of Krishna is liberation, and ignorance of him is bondage. So Om. Our acharyas have explained Om. A represents Krishna. It's actually a combination of three letters, right? A, U, and M. Om. So the A is Krishna, the U is Radha, and the M is the living entities. This is how you can think of it. We chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Right? This is the first thing we chant in the class. So Nama Om Vishnu Padaya. It's integrated into these mantras. But we should understand that ultimately everything is personal, because everything is connected to Krishna, the Supreme Person. It's only our ignorance that separates the matter from the person behind it. And when we do that, we are paving our way for staying in the material energy. The whole idea of Krishna consciousness is to suffuse everything that we see and hear and smell and taste and our whole experience in life with the divine and see Krishna behind everything. This is just like this temple. I mean, it didn't start out as a temple. It was built as a warehouse, then as a theater, And in those days, it wasn't transcendental. You walk into it and the last thing you're going to think of is Krishna, right, into the theater. But now it was because devotees came here and spent a year. I know some of these devotees. There's a whole museum up in New Dwarka in our fabulous facility in L.A. Depicting different scenes from the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. It's very amazing. And they worked on that for years. All the different devotees who had some sculptural or painting skills, I was there when they were working on it. I left L.A. just before they finished. Then they finished it. I was doing stuff on the East Coast. Then I came back to the West Coast to SanDiego in '89. I left in '78 and left '89. 11 years later, and I came to this temple, and here was this beautiful temple, and I learned that it had been put together by devotees who had come down after that, and they worked on all its sculpture and design and so forth. So what's the idea? You walk into this temple, and Krishna is everywhere. There's the paintings, there's Lord Chaitanya. Of course, you have to understand some of the pastimes. But the deities are there. There's the Hare Krishna mantra. The sounds, the kirtan. Everything here is meant to remind you of Krishna, connect you to Krishna. And that's what a dham is. That's what the spiritual world is that everyone is Krishna conscious. Meaning that their life is completely dedicated to serving Krishna, reciprocating this loving relationship with Krishna. That's what's going on in the spiritual world. This world is a reflection of that, is a distorted reflection. Meaning that we also have our loving relationships. We also have our, friends and our lovers and everything else, children, that we develop great attachment for. But here, it's temporary. You establish some relationship, but something happens and it's broken, and instead of a source of happiness, it becomes a source of pain, right? It's like that. And that goes for inanimate things too. Inanimate things such as our body. Our body's really inanimate. We're animating it because we're present. But we're so attached to them. I mean, we rely on them. They're our home, right, for a certain number of years. But eventually we're separated from them. Yasmat priya priyava yoga sa yoga janma shoka agnina sakata yona shudayaman. This is a verse from Bhagavad. Is that material life means two things. There's a fire of anxiety and lamentation that's burning. Sometimes it's burning very high and we feel it very pinching. Sometimes it's just underneath, threatening. But it's about to come. And there's two things going on. The things that we treasure in this world, that we feel are so important to us, called priya. They're very dear to us, beginning with our own body, but then other relationships, things that there's so many things, money, Eventually, we're separated from those. Either they're taken away from us, or due to time, we lose the ability to relate to them. In other words, we have $100,000 in the bank. But we're lying on the hospital bed about to pass away. What good is the money? The money's going. It's staying there. You're going. So that means the things that are dear are taken away. That's one source of anxiety. That it will happen, or that it's actually happening, causing great pain. The other side is that things that are abominable to us, like some big, brush fires coming to destroy your house, are forced on you. We had one of our members. This was a few years ago. He lived up in Rancho Bernardo, one of those places. And we had fires come, and he didn't, somehow he wasn't listening to the news or something, and suddenly he sees, whoa, that fire's coming right to the house. He barely got out with his deities. You remember that? And the house just burned up. He had no family or anything. He practically perished in that fire. I mean, anyway, this is material life. So two things. That dear things are ripped away from you, and abominable things are forced upon you, and this creates what is called a shoka agnina, a fire of lamentation, for in every species of life. What to speak of human beings, which we can use our imagination, right? That's why they have insurance. They try to give you look. Here's this. What's going to happen to your children if you die? Okay, life insurance. Okay, they'll have something. Well, what happens if your house burns? Okay, fire insurance, car insurance, health insurance, right? That's all based on fear, right? To try to mitigate the shoka agnina, the fire of lamentation. But it's hopeless. Why live in a world that's all of this danger and all of this horror going on, when we know that that's not our real life? That real life is in the spiritual realm. We are eternal. We have our eternal form and our eternal relations with God, which we've forgotten. So that's what Krishna consciousness means, reviving what we once had. That's why Prabhupada has this immortal phrase, let's go back home, back to Godhead. That's our home. We were there. We've left there. But the fortunate few who take this philosophy seriously and the practice seriously, then Krishna helps from within. He wants us back there. It's just like he's a father. We're all his children. We're wayward children. We've been gone millions and billions of lifetimes, But now, if we turn a little bit toward him, he takes all effort, from within our heart and externally to help us. That's why he sent Prabhupada to write all these books, establish the temples and all this facility, so that some of us could be saved. So let's take advantage of it. Don't postpone it. The whole idea is take it seriously and try to go back in this one lifetime. Who knows what's going to happen? They're predicting 12 years, the climate change. Who knows? why hang around in Kali Yuga? You know, we have it right. Okay. It's any questions or comments? We will proceed tomorrow night, Wednesday night, with text number 9. As Krishna is describing how we can see him in these experiences. When you drink some water, don't just drink water, think, oh, this is the taste. Krishna is the taste of water. If you could remember this verse. The light of the sun and the moon, we see that all the time. Don't just see, tomorrow morning when the sun comes up, oh, that light is Krishna's energy. So now I should think of Krishna. And the sound of Om, of course, any sound actually is and the whatever ability we have. So Krishna will describe in the next few verses how he's present in the interactions of the senses with the sense objects. That's what he's talking about, which is nothing but his energy. So if we see him in that energy, then that's a good first step in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. So we have a few minutes. So let me give you my poem. I couldn't describe the Leela of Govardhan Puja. So hopefully you can come on Saturday night. But I'll give you a little summary. Now, you have to visualize this wonderful painting. Krishna's under the hill, he's holding it up. All of the cows are underneath there, the cowherd boys, the cowherd girls. Everyone is looking at Krishna, so thankful he saved them from this big storm. And that's what this describes. So Indra, who's this, he's a demigod, he's a servant of Krishna, but he loses it. He easily loses his composure, and he became very angry because they stopped his sacrifice. So when Krishna stopped King Indra's sacrifice, that monarch of the heavens threw a fit. Those cowards took that foolish boy's advice. Such insolence I never shall permit. So Indra sent the clouds of devastation to pour down catastrophic hail and rain with lightning, winds and thunder without cessation. The cowards called to Krishna in their pain to show his coward friends his boundless love and crush King Indra's pride for his own good. Shri Krishna lifted Govardhan above and saved his friends while neath the hill they stood. Hare Krishna. So that's the summary of this Krishna Leela. And then, since we have a few minutes, here's a verse written by Krishna himself in the form of Lord Chaitanya about the wonderful gifts of just chanting and dancing, which is very easy, doesn't cost anything. Well, we can practice it in a few minutes. So this verse, I'll give you the first line of the Sanskrit, so you probably don't understand it. You would understand. Cheto darpanamarjanam pavamahadavagnidirapanam. All glories to the chanting of Shri Krishna's holy names, which easily extinguishes samsara's blazing flames by polishing the lust-encrusted mirror of the heart. That chanting is the waxing moon that knows the secret art of causing the white lotus of good fortune to unfurl its petals far and wide throughout this bleak and blighted world. Of transcendental knowledge, which will take us to life's goal, the chanting of the name of Krishna is the life and soul. The ocean of ecstatic bliss floods far beyond its bounds, wherever Krishna's merciful and mystic name resounds. Indeed, whenever Krishna's names are sung in congregation, at every step one tastes a joy that knows no limitation. So hear with great attention as I earnestly request, please chant Shri Krishna's holy names and be supremely blessed. The soothing nectar of the name will bathe your consciousness, bestow pure love for Krishna, and eradicate distress. So this verse, written by Lord Chaitanya, it's the first verse of his instructions on the holy name. Maybe in future classes we can go over more of those instructions. But it gives, in 7 metaphors, the benefits of chanting, and it's free to everybody. And there's no restriction, time, place, candidate, gender, it doesn't matter. Everyone is invited to chant the holy name and enjoy these benefits that we just outlined. Why not? It's free. It's completely free. And the value is off the charts. Just by chanting it once, just by coming here, you must have chanted Krishna one time. You're not going to take birth as an animal. You'll come back again to chant again. In other words, there's no loss or diminution. So this is it's the most valuable thing there is bhakti. And it has become feasible and practicable and even, you would say, easy by the efforts of Srila Prabhupada. Okay, we're going to adjourn now, and we'll have a nice little artik in a few minutes. We can see the deities. We have a few lamps left. If you can offer them. This is very auspicious to offer Krishna a lamp during this month of Damodar. And maybe we can find a few others.